Ladies and gents, welcome back to the channel. Wishing every one of you a Merry Christmas. I hope you're having a beautiful time with friends and family. Today, we're to be jumping into the price of Bitcoin because we may see a massive explosion in the price in the upcoming 48 hours. But more importantly, we've seen some pretty dramatic updates with the ETF applications, and with all of this new data, we'll be able to give an insight on what we think can happen to the price. So for all of that and much more, including why I ended up closing this long position, stay tuned until the end of the video. And to find out where I'm buying Bitcoin next, then of course you want to watch until the end. But guys, if you haven't subscribed already, it would mean the world to me if you hit the subscribe button so we can reach 30,000 subscribers by the end of this year. Honestly, it would be crazy to do that while I'm 16 in 2023 before it comes to an end. We've come so far in 2 years, and I'm grateful to each and every one of you and all of the new subscribers too that have came in the recent days. But ladies and gents, let's jump straight into it and discuss what I think will happen to Bitcoin. And for this, we need to jump over into the trading view chart, and then we can discuss the ETFs. Now, looking into the 4-hourly, we can see that Bitcoin has not been doing much these past couple of days. We've just been very choppy in the zigzag pattern, and some may like to call it the Bart Simpson. I know I'm not a huge fan of it too, but look, it works. As a family, they're very good at predicting stuff, and even in technical analysis, you can apply them to the charts. So we could be expecting a drop here. That's how Bart Simpson works. We see this choppiness and then price reverses, and $42,200 is possible. That's why I closed the trade, but I'm looking into reopening it as soon as possible because I think the ETFs will take us to 48K, then maybe a reversal to $36,000. But in the short term, we can continue pumping. I think because it's Christmas now, a lot of people are not trading. Going into maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we may see the markets pick up. But the thing that I want to do is I want to compare what happened to the CME launch to what is happening with the ETF launch now. Because CME launched exactly 6 years ago, almost exactly 6 years ago, and it was the first financial instrument that allowed institutional investors to buy up Bitcoin. And this happened back in the 31st of October in 2017, where the price pumped by around 220%. And it's unbelievable. Look at that. From the announcement to the launch, we saw a 210% pump, and then we saw a 75% retracement towards the downside, and the exact top was marked on the day of the launch. Now, that's not nice because if we jump into the macro chart for Bitcoin, that was over here. And keep in mind, this was post-halving. So we created an all-time high around a year after the halving, which is what we're expecting for this cycle. So that's the only thing that's different. But we topped out on the day of the launch at $20,000 almost and saw a 75% retracement. Now, that's what we can expect is going to happen here. So the BlackRock Spot ETF announcement came in June, and so far we've rallied up by 80%. Now, of course, 220% is crazy because 2017 overall as a year was incredibly bullish for crypto, so we can't expect the same. But what we can expect is that on the day of the ETF launch, which is coming in almost 2 weeks now, we can see the top for Bitcoin. The question is, when and where? So if we go into Brave and look at these interesting sets of data and information, we can see that 2 days ago, the SEC sat down with the 7 biggest ETF issuers, including BlackRock, ARK Invest, Grayscale, and they said that, look, by the 29th of December, you need to submit your final documents, which removes the in-kind redemption clause and change it to cash crates only. We discussed this in previous videos, so I'm not going to get into it, but on the 29th was their final deadline. And literally 30 minutes after, BlackRock submitted their 4th amendment to their original application form, and everybody is now in a rush to make sure they hand all of these things in, the new amendments in, to be approved in the first batch in January. And once that happens, ladies and gents, it's going to be pretty interesting because options traders that make up a lot of the market right now, as we can see, open interest data, that stands for the total amount of options available on the market, is at crazy all-time highs, way higher than the Bitcoin all-time high in price as well. So now that we're seeing all of this open interest, we can see all of these speculators and options traders actually controlling the price. And people are bearish. Like, people are putting a lot more put calls, saying that the price will go down rather than increase. So the put to call ratio, the puts are higher than the calls. And this could mean that the price will decrease. Their max pains are at around $40,000-ish, but the analysts are expecting $36,000 if we see a retracement following the ETF, if it's a buy the rumor, sell the news situation, which is something that I'm expecting. That's why in terms of where I'm getting into next for Bitcoin is 41.2K, 39K, and 36.2K. And those 3 points are derived from three things. Number one, on the daily and 4-hourly chart, and the neckline would be 41.2K. If we break it, if it looks like we're breaking it, I'll cancel this order and buy a Bitcoin, aim to buy a Bitcoin at either $39,000 or $36,200. But what would be the ideal price to buy it? It would be at $33,000 or at $33,900 or $34,000, because at 34K, ladies and gents, we have $4 billion worth of liquidations coming in. And this liquidity, if it's wiped out, I think it will give us the sign that now it's open. It's completely clear for us to go and aim for the next all-time high between $90,000 to $95,000. That's why what I'm now going to do is I'm going to open an order, a limit order here on Bitflex at 34. Let's do 39.50. So let's do 33,950. And boom, I'm going to put 500 USDT, not 500 Bitcoin, but 500 USDT at 15x leverage and press open long. And that should give us a nice position there. And if you also want to trade, you can go over to the description below and sign up to Bitflex using this link, which takes up to 20 seconds only. And you can get up to $68,800 worth in prizes, which, by the way, you should look in redeeming soon because they're about to expire in the shop, in the Flex shop. And I just can't reach the Trezor. It's super annoying. Maybe next month I'll make it. But let's see what happens. If you want to collect your rewards by redeeming your points, I would suggest doing that now, because in 5 days and 14 hours, I think they may be refreshed. Something's going to happen. I'm not sure too. But yeah, it may be a cool extra gift under your Christmas tree if you can do it by tonight. Of course, with the shipping and stuff, that may take more. But let's see. If you're celebrating New Year, it may be a nice New Year gift. But we've covered this. So the SEC is waiting for the 29th. Everybody's submitting their new applications. Options traders are bearish. Open interest is at massive numbers. But the funding rates, ladies and gents, will give you a new perspective. Because the funding rates we can see in the previous all-time high for Bitcoin, when we were trading at $69,000, the funding rates were at crazy levels. Actually, similar levels to where we are right now. And what this means is that we have a lot of long positions. There's a lot of long exposure in the markets. And these people are willing to pay the premium price you do when funding rates are positive to keep their long positions open, because they're expecting even higher prices. And how that works in the market is that long positions pay short positions when funding rates are positive, and vice versa when funding rates are negative. And yes, if you are a high volume trader, you know how big of a pain that is. So people are paying the premium, but what we can tell historically is that usually price sees a significant reversal when we see the funding rates clearly in the massive positive zone. But some bullish news, right? Some bullish news that we can get into is that the total reserves of Bitcoin on exchanges is dropping significantly. We're seeing that the total people holding over 0.01 Bitcoin in their wallets is at an all-time high. So the supply is clearly decreasing, and people are buying that decreasing supply. So in basic economical fundamental sense, that is incredibly bullish. If there's more demand in the market and less supply, well, the price will rally towards the upside. And yeah, that's just incredibly bullish. And of course, on top of this, we can talk about the Hong Kong regulators gearing up to accept crypto spot ETF applications. Now, keep in mind, most of the volume in crypto come from Asia, not from the American side, not from Europe, but from Asia. And if we see across Asia, different regulatory bodies, opening up for Bitcoin spot ETFs, then we can see crazy volume coming into Bitcoin, which would be tremendous. So this is arguably more bullish than the Bitcoin spot ETFs over in the US. And this would be really, really amazing. So that's beautiful. But just to end off, yes, no, this is not an altcoin. This is the United States dollar, ladies and gents. And I thought it would be funny to mention because that's how most altcoins look like from the previous bear market. And the Fed will pivot very soon, ladies and gents. And when the Fed pivots, it's historically known that stocks go down tremendously. So next year, guys, it's going to be a very, very shaky one. We have the elections coming up. Fed is pivoting. Bitcoin's going to have the halving plus the ETFs. Oh my God, it's going to be chaotic, but I'm so up for that. And guys, thank you so much for following along with all of these videos this year. It's really been amazing. I feel like it's the end of the year, but it's not, right? So there are going to be more videos coming up next week. Don't worry about that. Make sure to turn on the notification bell to be updated as soon as possible. Ladies and gents, have a beautiful day tomorrow, and I will see you all in the next video very shortly. Take care, guys, and bye-bye.